What is going on, y'all? Gamers Goon here today, and I do have MLB fantasy draft here in the next few. It's at the end of the hour, so I figured I'll come in here and do a quick little video. But as you can see, we're on Perplexity. It's an AI thing. I didn't really have time after this came out to want to sit down and really analyze this, but as the as the next few days go on, expect to maybe see 2-3 videos, maybe even 4 or 5 out of me a day. We're going to do a bunch of different ways. We're going to make a bunch of different brackets. There'll be a serious bracket. That one will come out, I believe, Wednesday night once the play-in teams are official. But the bracket did just drop, and I figured, you know what? Let's give AI a chance here. We're going to give Perplexity AI a chance to get it correct. Now, I believe I set this up programmed correctly. I broke down the regions for him, as you can see. So we're going to send in here, and it's going to say all that to me, which I don't really care about. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start off with region number 1. We have Auburn was victorious. Who else do we have? Creighton defeating Louisville. That a little bit of an upset. Creighton still a solid team. I personally am going to want to try to avoid them, but if Perplexity says so, we're doing it. And UC San Diego with the upset over Michigan. Michigan just coming off of a Big Ten championship, falls flat to a hot UC San Diego team, a very popular team coming into this tournament. People were talking about maybe them being or holding some of the mold for a Cinderella. UC San Diego does it there, round 1, knocking off Michigan. Then they got Texas A&M defeating Yale. Unfortunately for Yale, it ain't happening. It ain't happening this year. Ole Miss versus SDSU versus UNC. SDSU! And UNC beats Ole Miss. Wow. So we don't know which team is coming out of that. And maybe if they do make a little bit deeper of a run, we will ask AI to pick between the team. But we don't know what they've picked just yet. Iowa State versus Lipscomb. Iowa State defeating Lipscomb. It's pretty much what I thought it would be. Marquette versus New Mexico. New Mexico pulling off the Marquette upset. I like it. I don't know if I'll have that in my personal bracket, but that New Mexico team is pretty fun. Michigan State, of course, beating Bryant. Not getting any major upsets there. And I think the way this AI goes is it goes down the line up until the Final Four, or it gets you out of the region. So we're just going to go with how it tells me to go. So then we get to Auburn versus Creighton, which they take Auburn. We'll take Auburn there. UC San Diego beating A&M. UC San Diego, they are hitting a hot stride, and they're going to run into Auburn in the Sweet 16, a match that I'm sure, if it does happen, UC San Diego is going to have a lot of fans rooting for them and rooting for them to potentially make the Elite Eight. Iowa State handles business with SDSU/UNC. We don't have to debate on which one it is. Either way, Iowa State takes care of business. Then New Mexico drops to Michigan State. We don't get a New Mexico run along with the SDSU or the UC San Diego run. So kind of chalky, but UC San Diego making a name for themselves here. Creighton coming to play pretty well. There's that upset there. I don't really know if either of those teams beating Ole Miss would be a huge upset, really. New Mexico a little bit. We didn't get really any major ones outside of the UC San Diego, which I like. Because you're not going to see 3 or 4 in one region usually. That's not usually how it goes around. So we will see here Auburn versus UC San Diego, and Auburn comes up with a victory. So the potential Cinderella there with UC San Diego ends the first game of second weekend, and then we get Iowa State taking out Michigan State. Okay, I can get behind that. And then Iowa State knocking off Auburn and heading to the Final Four. So Iowa State coming to play. Got a good defense, obviously. Some veteran leadership there. Lipsey's there. Momkailovich is there. They have a lot of talent on that team. And then you look at an Auburn team that's been struggling lately. They get over the hump. They beat their first round matchup. Creighton was a little bit iffy. He took care of business against UC San Diego. And then they finally have that hiccup against Iowa State. I don't mind that. That's actually a pretty good prediction. I don't know if I'll go with that specific prediction, but that's not too bad. That is not too bad. And it only gave me Region 1. So that means I'm going to have to copy and paste Region 2. Now, where is Region 2 in all of this? Region 2. Here we go. We're going to copy and paste Region 2 since it did not do it fully properly. Region 2, here we go. Here we go. What are we going to get? What are we going to get? And you see this bracket on the side too, making some stuff. That's kind of interesting, I guess. I don't really know what that's about. But we get Florida defeating Norfolk State, as we'd expect. Is Florida down here? Yes, they are. Florida beating Norfolk State. There we go. Oklahoma! Jeremiah Fears getting over the UConn Huskies, Dan Hurley and company. Colorado State beating Memphis. That's an interesting one. I think that's definitely possible. Memphis has not looked great. Maryland taking care of business against Grand Canyon. Maryland, one of the hotter teams in the country right now. I know they didn't win the Big Ten tournament, but they lost to the eventual winners. Drake beating Missouri. I like it. I don't know if I'm going to pick it, but I like it. Kansas versus Arkansas would be next. They got Arkansas pulling off the upset, so this one I skipped over the Texas Tech beating UNC Wilmington. Sorry, UNC Wilmington, I did skip over you, but chalky there. Arkansas did get the job done against Kansas, and then we get St. John's versus Omaha, and it's going to be St. John's winning. St. John's coming out with the victory there. Then we get to the round of 32. Florida beating Oklahoma. Florida is a real dangerous team this year. I'd be shocked really to see what they're capable of in March Madness. Maryland taking care of business, knocking off Colorado State there. Maryland, I think you got a pretty good draw. Texas Tech. So this is all chalk here. 1-4-3-2, all advancing. Texas Tech getting the job done. St. John's. Not as much fireworks here in this one, outside of maybe the round 1 being a little interesting. Not very many fireworks in the round of 32. We go to the Sweet 16, and Maryland knocks off Florida, and Texas Tech knocks off St. John's. Two teams that I think are going to be popular picks for the long run. Not getting the job done according to Perplexity, and then we get Texas Tech coming out of this region. I'm kind of shocked. Texas Tech coming out of that region. Texas Tech is a capable team. If that's what AI tells me, then it has to be correct. Let's go up here. Let's go up here and get our. I gotta figure out. There's Region 2. Here's Region 3. We gotta get Region 3 here. And we are going to put it in. Okay, so there we have it. Where are we? We're at the top? Yeah, we're at the top. We get Duke beating American, or I believe that's Mount St. Mary's. Duke, though, taking care of business. Baylor pulling off the Mississippi State upset. No, I don't really know if that's a big upset, really. And both teams pretty solid this year. Oregon taking care of Liberty. Oregon, shout out to them. My alma mater. Akron getting the Arizona win. That's huge. That is okay. I don't need to look at Bayer Leverkusen. Akron beating Arizona is huge for Oregon. Now, does it finish the job? I don't know. We'll find out next round. BYU beating VCU. Okay. I don't need soccer. Montana beating Wisconsin. Okay. Okay, so this right here, this region, some fireworks in it, some real fireworks in it. St. Mary's taking care of Vanderbilt, and Alabama taking care of Robert Morris to wrap up that round of 64. Then we are going to go to the round of 32. We got Duke beating Baylor and Oregon beating Akron. So Duke and Oregon match up in the Sweet 16. Big matchup for Oregon. And then we get BYU, St. Mary, all these teams. BYU takes care of Montana, and Alabama takes care of St. Mary's. There we have it. BYU and Alabama running into each other. Duke beating Oregon, Bama beating BYU. Okay, so there was some fireworks, but ultimately the top two teams come out of the region. And who do we have winning the region? Is it Duke? It should be Duke. Alabama beats Duke. Alabama, a capable team, but I think Duke is going to be a really popular winner pick for many, many people, especially if they get Cooper Flagg back and healthy, which it sounds like they will. That leads us with one. The Midwest side of the bracket. Here we go. We're going to have to scroll back up yet again, because I didn't do it correctly the first time. I know. Bear with me for a little bit more. Illinois, you scare the bejesus out of me. You scare it. Here we go. Are you serious? Click the X. Yeah, they just really want me. They really want me to buy the full version. Not doing it. I'm not doing it. But if you liked what the AI was able to do today, you can go and check out Perplexity yourself. I already see that Illinois thing down there. I don't want to talk about it. Houston taking care of business against SIUE. I was hoping SIUE would get a little bit easier of a draw than Houston. That might be the best team in the country and in the tournament. Georgia beating Gonzaga. I do like this Georgia team. Gonzaga a little bit weak. Still a talented team for Gonzaga, and obviously they made it here in March Madness. Clemson versus McNeese. I agree. I know a lot of people like that McNeese team from last year. I know that the student manager for McNeese has been making the rounds on social media, TikTok, Instagram, whatever. The dude's cool. I'll give it to him. McNeese, though, they needed an easier draw. Clemson as a 5 seed, I don't like. I think Clemson's a better team than that. I think you didn't really get a favorable draw if you're McNeese. And I don't know if they're going to be... they might be a popular pick. I don't really think that they really stand a chance, personally. Purdue beating High Point. High Point's another one. I'm praying that High Point wins. I'm really a big fan of High Point, but unfortunately, they run into Purdue. Now, I do think that game is winnable for High Point. The AI is running them into Purdue, but if you can find a way to maybe eliminate the impact of Trey Kaufman-Renn, maybe you can get him in some foul trouble or something. Maybe there's a chance. High Point, high-scoring offense, they can definitely do something. Illinois versus Texas A&M, or Texas or Xavier. I don't know who it's going to be. AI thinks it's going to be them anyways, though. I would prefer to play Texas because I think you can press Texas and overwhelm them a little bit, and they'll make some mistakes, and I think that could help you win the game. But Texas is also another team that can get hot and really, really just light it up, and you can't catch up. Kentucky taking care of business with Troy. Kentucky coming into the tournament a little banged up. Not a problem here for the AI. UCLA takes on Utah State and wins. Tennessee beating Wofford to round out round one. So we have one upset. We have two-ish upsets. The big upset really is Illinois, but it's not even really that big of an upset, to be honest with you. So not a crazy bracket here yet. Houston defeats Georgia, as you'd expect. Houston's going to defeat Georgia. We are going to have Clemson beating Purdue, which I definitely think is possible, and I might have that actually in my real bracket. if I don't convince myself into High Point. Kentucky beating Texas or Xavier, so we don't have to ask the AI which team is going to win there. And then UCLA versus Tennessee. Tennessee taking out UCLA. Tennessee, shout out to my boy Cam, big Tennessee fan. I think that if we run into each other, I'd be happy. But realistically, I don't know if Illinois, they're going to have to hit a hot streak. I think if you can get past that Texas Xavier, I think you got to run. I think you can make a run. I think with a banged-up Kentucky, Illinois should be the favorites. Texas and Xavier, though, if Illinois gets over that hump, I could see them definitely, maybe even pulling off the upset against Tennessee, who they lost to by 2 points earlier this season, and maybe making another Elite Eight run. But Illinois, I think their trickiest game is their first game, believe it or not. I know a lot of people are like, well, yeah, but you don't want to run into Houston. You don't want to run into this, that, and the other. The biggest hurdle for Illinois is going to be that first game, I'm telling you. It's going to be that first game. Those are two quality teams that people aren't going to really think too highly of because they're an 11 seed. Illinois got their work cut out for them. Kentucky versus Tennessee. I think they said Tennessee won. Did they not? Houston wins. Tennessee wins. Yeah. So Houston, Tennessee. And who do they have coming out of this? Is it Houston? They have Houston. Okay. They have Houston. So that leaves us with a Final Four of Iowa State, Texas Tech, 2-3 seeds, Alabama, and Houston. Okay. In a Final Four where Iowa State, number 3, Iowa State, v. number 3, Texas Tech. And who are we? We got number 2, Alabama, v. number 1, Houston. Who wins? Let's see here. Texas Tech defeating Iowa State. Texas Tech making it to the national championship. A team we were kind of shocked to see make it this far. And then you got Houston beating Alabama, which we thought was definitely possible. And what does AI have here between the winner? Ooh, they have Houston. I think Houston will be a popular winner pick. But yeah, they have Houston finally getting over the hump. Houston, always a team that we think, hey, maybe they can really make that run, and then they do really well, and then they just fall off late. Houston, though, set themselves up. They get Texas Tech. They win the national championship, according to Perplexity. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time.